Hi, so this is a walkthrough of our Onega's Mimecast MSSSP pricing. So first off, we said MMSSSP, partly to be silly, but also just to differentiate a little bit, in that we said that Mimecast managed super security and support services provider price matrix. Sometimes these things of MSP or whatever just get longer and longer and sillier. And anyway, it makes more sense than the night stuff that Mimecast have. So, Mimecast have a number of services and bundles, and traditionally clients can buy those through us or directly, price being the same, but we can sort of help support in as Mimecast partners. We can still sell those traditional packages. But the MSP offering probably makes most sense in most cases, and I'll explain it here. One of the reasons for moving to MSP is that traditionally Mimecast for small businesses used to have a tier of up to 25 users for their packages. They've now, so if you had 10 people, you would pay that 25 user tier, which used to be about £1,500 a year, I suppose, average, something like that. And the next tier up was then up to 49 users, and there were sort of higher tiers, or over 100 goes per seat, really. So Mimecast are doing away with the up to 25 user tier. So effectively, a smaller client who has 10 users or anything below 49 would be in that 49 seat bracket. And if you've got 3 people, you still pay as if you've got 49 people, which is, Mimecast's argument, which is valid to an extent, is that, from their perspective, the infrastructure and setup time and effort and support needed is about the same for a smaller client as a larger one, although the amount of email and everything is obviously going to be less. So by using the MSP system, we can put together a package of what someone needs for the number of seats they need to be correct and not need those tiers. So it's likely to, 1, save people money, and 2, be more flexible, and generally just be better and more contemporary approach, and we can do monthly billing on it. So in the spreadsheet here, we've put our pricing spreadsheet together, and I'll talk you through that now. So we've got, first of all, this block with the core services, and under here we've got various core service options. So there's security only, which is S1, and Mimecast have got new naming on their website at the moment as we speak, and they call this one perimeter defense. So effectively, this is just security, and there are documents that tell you what you get in these, as with tick boxes and things as well that we can refer to. But effectively, this is just the security aspect of Mimecast, because Mimecast can do a few things in its core offering. There's the security element for anti-spam, anti-phishing, all the security stuff, and then there's also continuity. So if your main environment, your 365 environment, your Exchange environment goes down, you can still send and receive email. That's continuity. And there's the archiving aspect, where everything that goes in, out, and through Mimecast gets archived, and you can refer to that. So if somebody deletes an email in a main system, it'll still be in the Mimecast archive. So here, so the S1 anyway is just security. S2 is security, but adds internal mail protection as well, so it checks the outgoing emails. It's not just incoming gateway, so it's a little bit of a premium. And then we get on to probably the more popular and higher value bundles. So there's M3R, which gives you the security, but it also gives you continuity and a year of archiving. And then there's the M3RA, which is probably the best value one of all, and that gives you all the security, but it also gives you perpetual email archiving. So something that goes into the archive and can be kept. You can keep it for less time. You could say 10 years, and initially it's a little bit academic, as you start from nothing unless you import old email, which is a separate ingestion service. but this does the perpetual email archiving as well as the continuity and the security. So, and we've also got here W1, which is the web security, and that's effectively DNS control, so that on somebody's computer there's a little agent, and this overlaps. We can do the same with WatchGuard, and we can do a similar thing as well with WebRoot. So it's a matter of if a client's got the Mimecast stack, it's probably best to use this on Mimecast. If somebody's already got WebRoot, it might be better to add the DNS security with WebRoot. And if you're on WatchGuard already, you might want to do it with them. And if you've got all three, you just choose one. You wouldn't want all three, unless you're, yeah, it would just be daft to have more than one of these. And actually, with people working remotely more now, these are very relevant. So actually, when you get an email with the Mimecast security, we'll check the links and check you're not going to a known phishing site. But if you just bring up a web browser and go to www.dodgywebsite.com, if you haven't got any protection, you might get the benefit of Chrome's built-in protection or your AV system, but this does it at the DNS level and an extra level of security, so is well worth doing. And all of these things with security reduce the risk, so you want to have multiple layers of protection. Ideally, if you check things as they come in, check things as you access them, check things at rest, more layers of security all reduce the risk of bad things happening. So I'll come on to the other services in a minute, but just to explain the spreadsheet here anyway, we've got the services, and then we've split the pricing into a few columns. So on column C here, we've got, these are the prices from Onega to a client, and we've got effectively per user self-managed pricing and per user Onega managed pricing. And I'll explain the differentiation here. And for illustration, we've also got where they're published and accessible. We've got Mimecast direct pricing. So if a client is a direct client of Mimecast, or or buy it through us, the price is the same. It's the price that you would pay if you were to take 100 seats of Mimecast. So the self-managed in column C, the self-managed pricing is basically if a client is happy to do the administration of Mimecast themselves. So it's a lower cost than buying it direct, and it's a lower cost than us managing it. So effectively, if someone has full-time IT staff or someone who likes tinkering, learning, playing with the management interface and releasing the emails when they get blocked and setting the policies and things like that, then that's great. We're very happy to support that. And effectively, because we don't have to do that element, which does have a cost, a significant cost of managing it, we can give a lower rate, so that effectively here we're helping a client to put the service in place, but we're not charging the management element. What we do include in this is that if a client gets stuck, we're happy to take tickets and help them escalate things. So if there's a problem on the Mimecast service or someone wants helping, we would help on that to sort of explain how to release an email and do support tickets. So we're not saying that someone's on their own and off you go, never want to talk to you again. We're happy to help, but basically day-to-day administration and most things someone would be doing themselves on Mimecast. So also, if a client buys it directly, they would have to be doing it themselves, or we would have to be doing it for them. So the pricing in column D here this is Onega's managed service cost. So it basically includes everything in C, includes E, but it also includes the cost of us managing the system for a client. And the management cost and service is a really, really, really important element, because when you take Mimecast, it's, I don't know, I suppose if you buy a car, you buy the car, but somebody has to drive the car. So you either drive the car yourself, as most people do, or you hire a driver to drive it for you and chauffeur you around. And effectively, I suppose that's a fair example here. The cost here is for us chauffeuring you through the Mimecast service to set it up, to help you run it nicely, to put the policies in place and fix problems when they occur, and all of these things with spam, they do take ongoing administration with security to check it's all working, to tune the policies, because the balance between blocking email that you don't want and not blocking client email that you do want to get is quite a fine balance, because criminals are very clever. Actually, digressing for a moment, we've seen lately, so impersonation protection, for example, is something that Mimecast does, and we can configure it. So I'm Ben Fitzgerald. If someone emails me pretending to be Ben Fitzgerald, the system will pick it up and say, well, that's impersonation protection, you probably don't want that. And normally these things try and email other people in the company to say, hi, it's Ben Fitzgerald here, please can you approve this payment to XYZ? And Mimecast, because it notices the name match, will stop that. But we've seen new emerging clever criminals where they might say from Ben F, and someone might conflate that to from Ben Fitzgerald, please can you send £6,000 to XYZ, and it might not get caught by Mimecast, because if they stop everyone called Ben emailing a company, or any James or any whoever names you've got, then it would just be unworkable. But so it's always a cat and mouse game of security, and it's always evolving, and some things need tuning. And also with all of this, nothing stops the need to be vigilant and look out for things, because everything reduces the risk, and ultimately the person is the last line of defense. And hence, actually below we've got the security awareness training that helps educate people to what to look out for in email. So anyway, I digress for a moment. The managed service cost here effectively covers the cost of Onega helping set up the service, manage the service, deal with user tickets for when something needs tuning, and it incorporates that element, and actually it's very well priced here for that. So we've got the illustrative costs, and for all these services we have these. So the way we work out the pricing is, so we've got these sections here for number of managed seats and unmanaged seats, and generally you would only have one or the other in one of these elements. So if a company has say 20 people and they just want email only security, we would, in the unmanaged seats section, say for example put 20 seats in here, and down at the bottom that will work out, well, it works out in the row that would be £55 a month for the S1, for the perimeter defense, for the security, which is very good value for that. But that's on the basis of them managing it. And down the bottom we've got the total, because with Mimecast you might take the core product and then you might add a little bit. So somebody could say, oh, I also want the security awareness training, so you might want 20 seats for that. And for most things you need to match the number of seats. So I think Mimecast, if you've got 20 seats for the core service, you've got to have 20 seats for the awareness training as well. There are a couple of exceptions to that, but generally that's the case. So here that would come to the total, the totals we have. So yeah, that's the case. And actually, I will explain these other products very quickly as well. But yeah, I tell you what, pricing first, let's finish that. So if someone wants just the email defense, I'll put this back to 0, but they like, it would be more appropriate for us here at Onega to set it up to work through to manage it. That same 20 users, effectively the cost goes up to £95 a month, and that provides tremendous value in security and everything. And we would just put the elements in here. The single most popular bundle probably is this one of M3RA, which adds these multiple elements together, and it is cheaper. We can put these together from the other core services below, but it's better, more appropriate, better value by far to do it as a bundle. So if we had 20 users, 20 people in a company, with Onega managing it for the full bundle, pricing wise here, it's actually very, very, 2 pence more a month per person than if you buy it direct from Mimecast, which is pretty impressive. And that's also based on 100 users. So with Mimecast, you would actually, I'm going to grab my trusty calculator. If you were buying it direct from Mimecast, you would actually be paying for the minimum of the 50 user bundle, so which would be 833 times times 50 times 12 months, yeah, you'd be paying £4,998 a year, because of the minimum counts that they've got. So actually our cost here of £167 a month is tremendous value. So this is illustrative of what you would be paying if you had the 100 users. We could put another column in here to actually say what Mimecast would actually charge, which is an awful lot more, but I think we can explain to people, and we can share this video with clients to explain as well, because we believe in being transparent, open, and all of that. And we do try and calculate these all to be ethical and reasonable, and that's the way Onega does things. So yeah, if a client wanted 20 users, or I don't know, say 5 users of the full bundle plus the security awareness training, then it would be £61 a month, and again, that would be very, very good value. I'm going to digress for a moment. So these other core services, I'll rattle through them as well for anyone who's not familiar. But effectively, D1 we don't see as being particularly relevant. It's got DLP, data leak protection, and content security, and that is, for most of Onega's clients, less relevant. If you're a company who deals with social security numbers, bank sort codes, and account numbers and things where they have a fixed format, and you want to pick up emails where someone's emailing out that sensitive data you might be holding and flag that and hold it, that data leak protection would be invaluable. Most small businesses or finance businesses or most businesses tend not to have data in that format, but if you do, absolutely this would be a brilliant bolt-on for the data leak protection, and that's there. The S0, most of the time you're going to go for S1. It's got slightly less basic, it's got more basic security than S1, and it's false economy. I think really it's really niche case here, in case somebody wants that. Again, continuity only we see as being a very rare case. Somebody might have security elsewhere and just want the continuity element, in which case you can just have that. Most of the time you will have it in the bundle, though, to be best value. So the continuity is very useful if you just have a continuity requirement. And often somebody might start with a continuity requirement and then add the security or add the archiving as well. And you might, again, just want the archiving, in which case you can have just the archiving. Again, probably makes sense to do it more as bundle and get the security and so forth. M1 is bundle of just the security and the continuity, which could be relevant. You'd probably do the M3R, those being a more popular thing, for a very small amount more. You've got the M1A, which just adds the perpetual archiving to the above, and then we've got M2 and M2A. So these add a little bit more of the functionality to the basic to add more value. But again, most of the time you're probably going to go for the M3R or M3RA, because they do include a lot. And if you have that, you then, as far as compliance goes and best practices, you've got good email security, good continuity, and good archiving, and all of those fundamentally help a company sleep easy at night, and do a lot of what you can do to minimize risks in email and security in this massive risk vector. Because actually, to put things in context, if we put the figures in for, I don't know, say 30-person company with, say, the M3RA bundle and with the security awareness training, and I'll discuss the add-ons in a moment. That would be £369 a month, which again is tremendous value. And just to put it in context, we have seen, for example, risks or actual incidents where people have got phishing emails and fallen for those, and sometimes you can, with the best of intentions, the cleverest of people can get caught and send out tens of thousands of pounds where it could have been avoided or the risk could have been reduced. And this helps reduce those risks. I mean, it doesn't just reduce that one risk, it also, by taking phishing emails out and spam emails, it prevents reputational risks. It also, productivity, junk emails, if you add them up, a few seconds looking at the email, that's junk, delete. That's a few seconds, that's distracting you and taking your focus away from things. And there are all these stats about if you lose your focus from what you're doing, it takes 20 minutes to get back to it. They are very real. So it helps productivity. And again, purely, probably in terms of productivity, the good filtering from Mimecast, this Mimecast pays for itself many times over. So it's, if you're a professional services or professional organisation, its value is tremendous. You can work out how many times over it pays for itself. So, yep. So the figures go in and add up, and we can help and iterate on these, and we can add people as need be as well. So yeah, I'll talk about the add-on services. So we have AT1, which is the security awareness training, and this Mimecast do little videos that get sent out to people. And we can do like phishing exercises, and the idea is that you can make it a fun thing and educate people, so that it's better that you get caught on a purposeful trap from the company, and you can make it a fun thing to say, what can we click on, that what can we put that somebody will click on. And I mean, there are standard modules, but we can also try and do fish tests with people where you think, I know they're into cars or shoes or whatever, and do something that's related, or something related to the company. Or I mean, lately we can do some on topical things like, here are our COVID reopening plans, and things that people would be interested in and might click on, and things that look believable. But it is better to do a simulated fish rather than let people get caught on real fishes. And also, there is no shame in clicking on something that you shouldn't click on. It's all about education. So a bit like we say, there are no stupid questions in IT. If you click on an email that is a dodgy email, or in a simulated one, actually that's to be celebrated, really, in that it's a learning experience, and it's much better to learn and actually say to people. And take from the aviation industry, where actually they are very good and mature, in that if a pilot has a near miss or something where they think, well, that could have gone worse, they write it up and they are open about it. Say, I was doing this, I was rushing, I was under pressure, or whatever the situation might have been, and didn't quite do that as I should have done, and it could have been a lot worse. It's better to do that, and other people read it and learn from it and say, okay, good point, and just stop and think about things, because taking a moment to stop and think about things in the interest of safety is always a good thing. So yeah, and if anyone's never sure about an email, no matter what any system says, feel free to give us a call here at Onega, and we are very happy to help or advise. And once again, there are no stupid questions in IT. So moving on, yes, the security awareness training sends little videos to people, records the fact that it's been done. It reduces the risk of getting caught on one of these fishes, and they're fun and entertaining, and they are short. They are a few minutes long, because nobody wants long, boring videos. There's enough of those anyway, so it's more likely to be done. There are options for some additional modules which are specific to certain regulated sectors where that would be relevant. If you're in finance or healthcare, etc., these can be added on. For most people, the basic one is fine. So there's an option for internal email protect for packages that doesn't include that. That can be added on. Some of these are a bit nichey. Large file send, that's actually quite a useful one. If you want to send via email large files, so email, you can normally send files of probably up to 10 megabytes, but it depends. If you're emailing a big corporate, their limits are going to be smaller because they have quotas to worry about. So some companies may reject emails over a megabyte, some 5 megabytes, it can vary. But if you've got large files you need to send, effectively what this does, it lets a company, you put the file in email, and behind the scenes Mimecast uploads it, and then sends a client a link to that file where they can download it. So if someone wants to add this, and actually I'm not 100% sure, I should know, but you may be able to get this for less than the number of main seats you've got. But for the sake of argument, though, here we'll say it's for everyone, and so we just put in the quantity, and that gets added on. So yeah, that allows setting up of that. And again, with the management side, this allows us to support it, to set it up and put it in place, and do that to facilitate it. Oh, one big security benefit of this as well is, have you ever sent an email to the wrong person where, well, I have, I think everyone has, or if you haven't, then you're the exception, and congratulations, and it's probably a matter of more when you will than if you will. So with autocomplete, you might type in JAM for James, and it, autocomplete in titles suggests, and you fill it in. And if you're emailing a number of people, you can send one to James, John, and Sally, and it sort of auto-completes them. You put in the email, attach your attachments, send them off, and then you might realise, or somebody might spot later, that you've sent it to two of the correct people, but you might have sent it to the wrong James. And the thing is, if that email has gone, it's like posting a letter. You can't, there are systems where you can retract email or request a retraction, but they don't actually work. They send a request, and internally they can be configured, but it's a bit like trying to take something back from the post. They will actually often send a request saying, Ben has requested retraction of this email, which can also be translated to, oh, I sent you something interesting that you're not meant to see. And if you tell something you're not meant to see that, then, curiosity killed the cat, and you're going to go straight for it. So actually, separately, if you do ever send one of these emails, it's just better to send a, sorry, please disregard that, I sent to the wrong person, just something simple as a personal thing as well. And most people are, professional, respectful, all the rest of it, and do that. But yeah, once you've sent that email, you can't close the door once the horse has bolted. Have I got that right? Yes. With large file send, you do have that facility because you can actually remove the file from the central server before someone's downloaded it. So if it's uploaded and you send a link, and then you realise, oh, what did I do? I sent it to the wrong person, or somebody else spots it, you can actually remove that. And yeah, we can help with that if need be. If somebody's downloaded it and read it, then or access the attachments, then no, we can't. But until that point, and often you realise these things fairly quickly, we can do that. So yeah, or if you realise you sent the wrong files to everyone, yeah, it gives you that facility. So yeah, you've got, oh, actually here, I have done this wrong. So let me say, so this is core site enablement, and then it's per user. So there is a adding the service and then for the per user on it. And actually, I think from the fact that we've got per user may imply that we could have less than that. But again, we'll confirm that. Most of the time, you want to have it for everyone anyway. There's also secure messaging. And for secure messaging, this is a level beyond large file send, which just does the attachments. If you've got a message you want to send to multiple people securely and you want to see that they've got it and the right person's got it, this effectively does the same thing. It lets you write a message and the whole message is put into a secure portal, and Mimecast will send an email to the recipient to say you have a secure message, and they have to log in there to access the message. So the advantage of that, again, is that if you find, oh, I sent it to the wrong person, you can actually remove the message before it's been read, and you can see who's read it, and it gives you more control. Again, once somebody's read a message, it can't be unread, but also it solves use cases where, for example, if you were to email someone something sensitive and you know that other people have access to their mailbox, only they would be able to access the secure message. So just trying to think of an example. Those other people wouldn't be able to access the message, or if the mailbox was compromised, those messages wouldn't be in the mailbox. So they couldn't be accessed unless somebody logged into the secure portal. So there are multiple use cases here for sensitive things. There's archive power tools, which lets you sort of explore the archives and do more powerful searches. And there's sync and recover, which actually synchronizes folder structures. So by default, everything you send out and everything that comes in, where it's set up to journal or go into the Mimecast archives, will go in there, but it goes as one big inbox, one big sent box. If you're very organized and you put things into nice subfolders, with sync and recover, it lets you mirror those folder structures and recover those folder structures, which is great. We do separately recommend separate Office 365 backup, and we use our SkyKick system, which also covers Teams and groups and SharePoint and OneDrive and files and calendars and sort of things that Mimecast doesn't include, because Mimecast focuses mainly on email at the moment. And again, multiple backups is always best practice. So that's all good. So Sync and Recover is a useful add-on. Supervision is for regulatory use where you've got compliance, and you might have, generally this will be for compliance FSA type industries, where you might have a compliance officer in a company who is required to sample emails to check that they're all, I don't know, compliant, all, correct practices and not suggesting things that shouldn't be done and things like that. And that a license to allow someone to do this would come under supervision. W1N, this is wireless security, which is a relatively new thing from Mimecast, and sort of helps assure wireless network security. It's not something we're currently seeing wide use cases for, and also overlaps with, if you've got the WatchGuard secure Wi-Fi, then that does a number of these things. Browser isolation add-ins. This is a feature for very secure web browsing, whereby the browser is using a custom browser, and if you get dodgy content in a web browser, it isolates it to that and stops it doing sort of some 0 days and or some custom attacks that could otherwise infect a machine. So in a very high security environment, that might be a very useful add-in. So down below here, we've got legacy, archive, and data ingestion services. So if you're going onto a plan that includes archiving, implementing Mimecast for the first time, and you've got 2 years of old email or longer, or whatever you've got, it allows for old email to be brought into the archive. So otherwise the archive starts capturing things when things come in. But if you want to import old email, you might have some really important old emails, that legacy emails that you want to bring in, and you can do that. And effectively there's a charge per gigabyte to cover the cost of bringing those in, and that is added. So yep, that comes in. And there's also the option to extract data from Mimecast and to bring it out. So if for an e-discovery case you need to legally deliver a mailbox or certain searches of a large size, there are some things that are practical to download as bundles, but if you've got a large legal delivery, and again this tends to be a very specialist use case and quite rare, then the costs, this is a use case thing. So actually these two, I think, are also not quite monthly, so this might be slightly incorrect. Again, if these are required, we'll need to just double check the pricing here to make sure that we've got it correct. So, in summary, the top ones, core Mimecast and the add-ins. So most likely you probably want one of the core services plus some of the add-ins, and add those to create the menu of options. Usually when we instantiate an MSP engagement, the billing is month to month. The initial commitment is 12-month commitment with Mimecast, but we can add extra seats as need be, and it's quite fair. I mean, the initial 12-month commit is usually no issue because people are committed to security, and realistically you're going to have this for many, many years, and it works very well to add security. We're not going to say there aren't any or can't be any needs for tuning, and there may be a few frustrations when you first set it up, because it is important to get the policies right, but that's what we're here for. But it's a conscious thing that's better to go through a bit of hassle in the interest of security, to get things right, get things secure, and get these patterns in place, because then it's well worth it in making sure things are well administered and looked after going forward. So that's a brief run through. If you as a client or internally from a member of Onega staff, if we're helping someone get going on Mimecast, we would get the cost in place, agreed for as things are. They can be varied over time, and packages can be stepped up, etc. This would be the core monthly cost it would work out, and the cost of instantiating the service is actually included in this as well. So we sort of have calculated that in. And if anyone's on direct Mimecast via Onega or not via Onega, we can also move people into the MSP program. We need to give Mimecast notice a minimum of 90 days before the renewal is due, and generally at the time of renewal it would pop into our Mimecast MSP portal and we would administer it from there, and that can be good for management, for economics, for everyone, and just sort of it's win-win for clients, for Onega and for Mimecast. So because actually Mimecast's focus is, because security is such a big thing, their direct focus is on the larger accounts and companies with tens of thousands of people and big accounts. So Mimecast actually want partners such as Onega as a MMSSSP to help clients to instantiate, so to do that. Actually, I should probably add we should probably say MSSSP TM to that, in that we we might as well trademark that. I don't think anyone else has. So MMSSSP. That's what Onega is in context of Mimecast. So this is a brief run through, and very happy to answer any of your questions, but hopefully that helps explain for now. So thank you very much. Bye for now.